named Mark Kirk, who later became our senator. And he did give good advice. He said, the only thing that gets done here is when we meet in the middle. So there's a lot of truth to that. But, what I tell folks who are looking from afar, not looking at what this president's doing, moving us toward more of an autocracy, is you meet in the middle when the middle is reasonable, right? And you both benefit. That's a two-party democracy at work. But when one side takes the most extreme positions, it's not my job to go way out there to meet them.
Yeah.
They have to come back to the norm. And, I tell students that the constitutions are our foundation, the laws are critical, but probably more important are norms of how you act in a decent democracy. And the president's not there. It wasn't just the Democrats voting to censor Mr. Green. What was more disheartening for me was the chairman of the Appropriations Committee, a Republican, right, saying that our spending bills are optional. The president, they're guidance for the president. If the Republicans are willing to cede the power of the purse, which is fundamental Article 1, then I don't know why they're bothering to show up, because you've just handed him literally the keys to the kingdom, keys to the cash register for sure. And then we're in some big trouble.
Well, that seems to have been what the intent was that day that, the memo was sent out that all federal funding for grants and programs were going to be basically blockaded until a review of whether or not they had DEI programs, that there was woke or Marxism. And from what I understand, this is the OMB's chief legal counsel, Mark Paoletta's intent for impoundment. It seems like that's the whole kit and caboodle for what you're talking about, yes?
Yeah, and look, if people want some reason to feel optimistic, the first barrier there of restraint has been the courts, and there have been some real victories. I think the real test is still to come, because we are in a constitutional crisis, but the crux of that will be when the president decides to disregard the courts. So, that's going to be the fundamental issue there. But the courts have stood up in that vein, and that's a big deal. I think the second reason they should feel optimistic is we have in Congress two real powers right now in the minority. We have our voice and we have our votes. So, while I was disheartened that there were Democrats who voted to censor Green, last week when we had the finance package, which is the precursor to them doing the big tax cuts for billionaires, the reason they're doing all these cuts to find money to find tax cuts for billionaires, the Democrats hung together. And the meetings I've had this week in caucus and with the Democratic appropriators, I don't think we're going to help them at all toward this end. And the Republicans have always shown some ability to be ungovernable. That will be the difference. And I think the final point is people's voices do matter. When you look at even Republican polling from the end of the year to now, our newly minted oligarch, who the president seems to have anointed with extraordinary powers, has dropped in polling, 50%. So, look, it disturbs me that we have somebody in this position doing these horrible things. But I do see people's voices matter, and it's starting to have an effect on how Republicans act and how they're speaking out about potential cuts to Medicaid.
For folks who aren't familiar, Congressman Mike Quigley of the 5th Congressional here in Illinois shows up. You do. I mean, you show up at neighborhood association meetings, at farmers markets. You are out there and available for folks to share their minds. And we are seeing that the Republicans now want to hide. They're being told, right, by leadership to not have any more town hall meetings.
Right. It's been suggested that one of the things we should do is play hardball and do a couple things. Go on their turf and do town halls. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but I think the very least that we can do is I'm starting to do outreach into typically more conservative media outlets, because you can't leave those fields alone. You can't let you talked about the extraordinary volume of lies that are going on. You have to counter that. You have to meet them there and tell people what's happening, so that they have to be challenged at some point in time. So we're looking forward to those challenges. Doing our town halls here, virtually and in person. And as you suggested, you go everywhere to hear people, because, boy, they sure want a voice right now.
We do. We really do. And to that, to the idea of the lies, the massive volume of lies is, it's not even reversal. That's not even the way to. I shared a video recently of Marco Rubio from years ago, standing on the floor of the chamber and passionately talking about how we promised Ukraine that we would stand with them against Russia, and then to see him on that couch next to J.D. Vance while they ambushed President Zelensky. I mean, what upside down world are we living in, sir?
Well, let me put that into a larger context of why people should care so much. First, we all want peace, and I've been to Ukraine 4 times since the war has started and seen the utter devastation. And they're facing a force 4 times larger than they are. They weren't expected to last 3 days, never mind 3 years. But you don't want a peace where Russia wins. Right, the extraordinary number of war crimes that they have committed. 93% of their attacks are on civilian targets. So what you saw there was, in the vote with the United Nations and cutting off aid, including intelligence, you're seeing a new world order. You're seeing we are a fundamentally different country than we were a few weeks ago. Unrecognizable to our allies, if we have allies. And I think as a result, we're fundamentally alone, therefore less safe. And it's important to couple this with cutting off aid to USAID, the humanitarian branch of who we are to the rest of the world. That was as bad or worse because it's disconnected us with the world, and I think we're siding with the bad guys, and we've lost a lot of our soul.
We really have. And I mean, so much news today alone, to your point about our standing in the world, and these meetings, emergency meetings, we know that leaders are having to try to decide what does the global dynamic look like without United States having such a prominent position. And then today with now they're not really going to be tariffs. We'll remove these tariffs. The stock market's up and down. And then the threat of today, possibly the order of the executive orders to eliminate the Department of Education, which isn't even legal. I mean, it's chaos, and it's a lot, sir. It really is.
Oh, and they've just started. And I want to tell folks is, they get it's harder to confront when they're throwing 50 things out at one time.
Yes.
Right? How do you get the public focused on that? What struck me was one of his first executive orders on the first day was to withdraw again from the Paris Accord to deal with climate change. Well, I think our children and their children's children will be most angry with us for what we did or didn't do on climate change. But it hardly gets any salience at all just because there's so much else.
Yeah.
You could talk for an hour on just the educational component. What made our country special? What made us excel in the world is when, universal high school, when the GI Bill, when this advanced, what are we known for here in Chicago? Premier research institutions, universities that are just extraordinary. The rest of the world sends their kids to our schools, and that doesn't matter. That puts aside the fact that so much of what we do in the Department of Education does is help the least who are least able to afford this an equal opportunity, the fundamental aspect of our Constitution, give everyone the opportunity, the pursuit of happiness. So, look, all I can say is, look, these are dark, dark days. We went through a lot of this with Trump won, and we ended up beating him. We won the midterms, and we ended up beating him. A lot of damage. The fear here is that there will be lasting damage that will take a long time to restore. But you mentioned something, and one of the things I want to close with is you can't let this overwhelm you. Well, my advice to people beyond getting engaged, getting involved, protesting, this is more important than it was in the 60s, is you got to take care of yourself. So many of my constituents, friends, families, staff, you can tell they're watching the news all the time, and it's really having an effect on them. I think you'd agree. You got to take a break from it every once in a while. You got to have some fun. You got to stay close to your friends and family. You got to stay healthy because we need you for the fight.
Excellent. And I just want, before we go, let you know that a listener said, thank you. Tell Congressman Quigley that we thank him for being there for us, and we need more people like him in politics. So, by the way, Congressman, there's a comedy show every Thursday night in your district starting tonight at Tata's Kitchen and Social at 5700 West Irving Park Road. Speaking of having a good time. So we'd love to have you sometime.
Highly recommended. Let me know. We'll go. Excellent.
Be well. Thank you for that. I know you gave me a little extra time, and I'm greedy that way. Be well, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
You
Bye
too.
now.
Bye. Oh boy. Anybody feel, is that a little bit? Does that give you? I think that's helpful. Lady B gave a thumbs up. Yep. Look, it's not going to be easy, is what it comes down to. But we're in it. We're going to do it, and I think there's a lot of positive things that are starting to move. It feels slow, but this all happened so fast. We would love to turn this around. We would love to go back to, I don't know how far back you'd want to go, but we can't. It's forward, and we're going forward together, and we'll drive it home thanks to our sponsors. That's how we get all of this going and keep these conversations on the air. And we encourage you to support our sponsors so we can keep doing the best we can. Go to source.solar to learn more about solar panels. Over 100,000 happy customers in the Chicagoland area. So make an appointment and talk to Peter about the feasibility of having solar panels on your house. We also want to thank our friends at Minocqua Brewing Company. Go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. We're broadcasting again. I believe we're going to be there on Tax Day, folks. We'll be broadcasting live from the Madison Minocqua Brewing Company tap room. That will be, it's a Resistance Central up there in Madison. So we will broadcast live, and I'll have another piece coming out in the next newsletter, on the next Mocha Monday newsletter coming up in a few days. And now also want to thank our friends at Kids Above All. Thank you to Kids Above All for all the great work that you do to help kids live happy, healthier, safe lives. And we've got more sponsors. It's like we're busy. Thank you to our friends at Are You Really Winning? Our new sponsors of the show. We'll be interviewing them tomorrow about Gambling Awareness Month, and more information about that to come. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
Hi, this is Patti Vasquez, and I'm thrilled to announce that Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez now has its very own podcast that you can subscribe to. Actually, 2 Driving It Home full episodes and Driving It Home featured interviews. You can subscribe to one or both. Just search for Driving It Home wherever you get your podcasts, or get the podcast links on my show page by visiting heartlandsignal.com and clicking on my picture.
Patti Vasquez, weeknights 5 to 7 on WCPT 820.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-708-3091. 800-708-3091. 800-708-3091. That's 800-708-3091.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. We're going to continue our conversation about the news of the day in a little bit. I just want to catch up with everybody and thank our hosts that filled in for me on Monday and Tuesday, Elliot Serrano and Ken Mejia Beal. They'll be back. I know folks have been asking about Dwayne Kennedy. He is starting a new project. He's got a new podcast out, and when we get a chance, we'll check in with him to find out the details on that. And he's also traveling with Kamal Bell. They're doing dates around the country, doing stand-up comedy. They'll be in Chicago April 25th and 26th at the Den Theater. So, folks, we have got to go out and support Kamau and, of course, our very own Dwayne Kennedy. That's April 25th and 26th at the Den Theater. I'm performing tonight. Lady B, I am really bad at that self-promotion thing. Like, having a radio show, I know. But the good news is it's every single Thursday. I might not be on every single show, but I'll be on most of them. Every Thursday at Tata's Kitchen and Social at 5700 North Irving Park Road. That's 5700 North West. Gosh, that's where I get in trouble. 5700 West Irving Park Road. It's over by the Dairy Queen near Irving and Austin. So we'd love to see you guys come out. Tonight it is TJ Fowler. We've got Abby Sanchez, comedian Paul Farver. All of us are comedians. I don't know why I preface that. But tonight's show will be a lot of fun. And Steve Goody. Okay, I probably should have been better about promoting this part of it. The musician and singer-songwriter who performs our theme song, Driving It Home, is headlining the show. So technically, if you're sitting there and thinking, I would have loved to see that, you have 2 hours. Because the show starts around a little bit after 7, because I have to get there, so it won't start right at 7. I'll be honest with you, we're going to play fast and loose a little bit. But Steve Goody is closing the show, so he won't be going up on stage until after 8 o'clock. So you've got 2.5 hours to come see Steve Goody and Abby Sanchez. Is it Ty Fowler? It's really bad of me. I should look at the flyers. And comedian Paul Farvar is the host and producer of the show. Next Thursday, it will be me, Jeannie Dugan, Joe Kilgallen, and my friend Jaime De Leon. That's Tequila and Shamrocks will be that show. It's an Irish and Mexican show at a Mexican restaurant the weekend of St. Patrick's Day. Do you see what I did there, folks? I thought that would be fun. That's all I'm saying. And I am well rested, I guess. And I don't know, rested is the right way to put it, coming back from New Orleans. I want to thank our friends in New Orleans, including Ford Miller, who was on the show with me yesterday. Greg Pallas, another great interview. And these interviews will all be available as standalone podcasts. The Greg Pallas interview with Ford Miller, we talked about information literacy. In addition to those podcasts, you can also hear our conversation with Wisconsin Senate Minority Leader Dianne Heisselbaum, who we talked to last week, and Texas State Rep James Tallarico. I thought that was an incredible conversation. And you can also tune in to Richard's show's of course you can. All of our shows are available online and also on your TuneIn app. You can also watch the live stream. I just told my guests coming on the 5:30 segment that there's a camera in the studio, which I always feel bad for folks. You have no idea. I'll talk about this in just a moment, but all of our shows are available on Facebook and YouTube for me, and Richard, and you can also tune in to his show in the morning to listen to Karen Bird. Karen, if you're listening, I got your messages, and I've been busy and swamped, and I'm grateful for your support. He'll also be talking to Crystal Paul of the Illinois Answers Project, and a regular segment this month with the mayor. Mayor Brandon Johnson is going to be. What do you think they're going to talk about? What? Maybe that was some crazy stuff that happened yesterday. At any rate, that'll be tomorrow morning. You have got to tune in. I mean, you already had to, but come on now. Dave in Hoffman Estates, what's on your mind, my friend?
Hey, Patty. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
We ain't got no rain or any snow coming now, do we?
No, it wasn't that bad down there. Shush. Nothing's my fault. Weather does not act that way.
All right. Hey, when you're talking with the representative, or maybe I missed it. Remember, was it next Friday is going to be that deadline to pass the spending bill. Otherwise, it'll be the government shutdown again.
Yep.
And
I know.
As dysfunctional as the two sides are, and I don't know, just a thought. But
yeah.
What you remember about a month ago when I told you that where Trump was they're trying to entice these guys that got discharged for not taking the COVID shot, to come back.
Right.
Well, got to reading that about roughly 8,200 were discharged, and that most, only roughly 650 Marines and Army soldiers have expressed any interest in returning to the force. In other words, roughly 8% only. And a good lot of them have moved on, with their lives, and they don't want to go through the enlistment procedures again and provide legal and all the moral standards and physical fitness stuff.
Right.
And then re-up for 2 years finally.
Dave, I just want to, because I have some guests in studio, I want to ask you this. As somebody who is a veteran, when you enlist, don't you agree to, like the vaccinations across the board are required, aren't they?
Well, they disobeyed a lawful order, yes.
Right.
But as we know, this guy's been violating all kinds of lawful stuff,
Right. I know. But I'm going to take one more phone call before we welcome our guest in studio, Dave. Thank you for calling.
Patty.
I appreciate it.
Be well.
You too. Thank you. Jim, my friend, how are you doing?
Hi, Patty. Linda McMahon is the head of the whatever department. You still there, dear?
I am, of course. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, she's the head of the whatever, who knows, whatever department they're dreaming of. But I was thinking about wrestling. I used to wrestle my little brother morning, noon, and night, but I never wrestled anybody. But I went with a girl down in Illinois State. They were out for drinks, and her girlfriend's boyfriend was the state wrestler, was the all-time champion or something. So I had $50 in my. So I'll pay you $50. I can beat you. So we went out and wrestled. He body slammed me. Where I forgot, Patty, I couldn't drive back. It was an Illinois State. I couldn't walk for about 3 days. So that was enough of that wrestling for me. But
I hear you. Yep.
But my point is, look at how crazy these people are. Betsy DeBlas's brother is putting in billions of dollars worth of contracts to put these people in irons and put them in prisons. And Mike Quigley said, you don't want to be overwhelmed, but my God, the only way you can't be overwhelmed is you got to ignore everything somehow, and because our daily routine of our responsibilities, they seem to get worse when you've got this kind of thing hanging over your head. You know what I mean?
It is. And, yesterday I think that, and we'll talk to Ford Miller some more about information literacy, and he really, focuses on not focusing on everything, if that makes sense. He's very selective, and I don't know how you do that either. But
no, your last guest last night was terrific. He's absolutely right. Maria Ressa was on again. She was talking about how the internet could make a dictator in a hurry because she was facing 100 years there. She got the Nobel Peace Prize for it. But your last guest yesterday was saying that information is so valuable that you have to go to the right places to get it. You can't just willy-nilly, Google things and stuff like that. I understand everybody does it, but if you really want to get to the nuts and bolts of it, you've got to try to get as close to the truth as you can.
Exactly.
And I thought he was a wonderful guest.
Thank you. He'll be regular. He had so much fun. I know we'll have him on the show again.
Oh, no, he's terrific. Terrific. Anyway, Patty, welcome back to Chicago.
Thank you. Take care, Jim. I'll talk to you later. Coming up after our break, we're going to talk to our friends from Girls Supporting Girls and talk about an event they have coming up. and so how you can support their work. Is that right? You have an event? Yeah, you have an event coming up. Excellent. All right. I'm like, I got so much information, everybody. Let's take a break here. We'll be back after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. Thanks for joining us. We're happy you're here.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jay Marslick. Into tonight, a slight chance of snow showers through the overnight under cloudy skies, low around 33 degrees, west-southwest winds at 5 to 10. Friday, snow showers are likely to continue under cloudy skies with a high near 36 degrees. Afternoon east winds at 5 to 10. And heading into Friday night, the chance for snow showers will continue through the overnight under partly cloudy skies with a low around 25 degrees. And that's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 41 degrees.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
You know that you can listen to Chicago's Progressive Talk on WCPT AM 820. Stream us live at WCPT820.com and on the TuneIn Radio app. Or you can ask Alexa, Siri, or Google to play WCPT from TuneIn. But now you have another option. We're simulcasting our programming overnight, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. on WSBC AM 1240 for a clearer reception in and around the city. Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820. And now overnights on WSBC 1240 AM, where facts matter.
If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Bridget, first-time home buyer, posted this 5-star review about her mortgage experience. Team Hochberg made one of the biggest and nerve-wracking milestones in our life such an enjoyable experience. David and Anna talked us through every step in our home buying journey with a very tight timeline and made us feel comfortable every step of the way. We put in an offer at the beginning of November, and with Team Hochberg's help and expertise, we're able to close on our home by the end of the same month. I couldn't say better things about them and our experience. Team Hochberg all the way. Thank you, Bridget. If you'd like this type of 5-star service on your next mortgage, call Team Hochberg now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That number one more time and that website you love, 855-563-2843, and go to 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Union Strong Chicago continues to lead the way with progressive values and in preserving democracy. Your support of the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversity Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
There's so much that goes on behind closed doors.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. You know, this morning I was listening to Richard Chu's show, and I think that we are really doing such great work here, uplifting organizations that are making sure that our communities have resources. And today I'm thrilled to welcome our friends from Girls Supporting Girls. We have Jenny McConaughey, who is a board member. Did I get your name right? It's a very important element of this. Okay, good. Jenny McConaughey joins us, and Patti Morrow, who's the president of Girls Supporting Girls, an organization started in 2013. You were telling me by 3 moms in Chicago.
3 Chicago moms. They were inspired by a movie that they realized what a need there was for girls to have equitable education globally. Mm-hmm. And they knew they wanted to make a difference and they wanted their children to make a difference. So they just took action.
So when you say globally, I mean, like, so they were, what was it they were kind of keyed into that made them realize?
You know, they saw a movie called Girl Rising, and they just really hadn't been to the front of their mind of the lack of opportunity that so many girls had to receive an education, and what a difference it made when they did have that. Just the trajectory of their life and their family's life was completely changed once they had that opportunity. And the statistics are just mind-blowing.
And how did you get brought into the fold to become president of Girls Supporting Girls?
I was a friend of mine, and actually a friend of Jenny's too, just told me it was a really great group of women, and I'd been to a fundraiser, and I was like, sure, I'll come along. And that was 7 years ago. And was a board member, then on the executive council for a couple of years, and then it was my turn. It's this amazing group of women that all share the work, and whenever it's someone's turn to step up, I'm always amazed at how they do, and it was my time to step as president.
Outstanding. And Jenny, tell us a little about yourself and your relation to the organization.
So the same friend that brought Patti on, as she had mentioned, brought me on, and it was kind of, near and dear to her heart. Shout out Iris Hart.
Shout out Iris.
And so I started by attending these events that we're going to have Build Bash tomorrow night. But you could see the passion in her eyes and in the whole board. And what they do is really amazing. So I just decided that I'd like to help too.
And where'd you grow up, by the way? I always like to ask people where they're from. It gives me...
Oh, okay. I'm from Palos Park. Shout out Palos Park.
All right. The southern or western?
Southwest.
Southwest suburbs.
And a Macaulay girl.
All right. What's some of your favorite restaurants up that way? I always like to know what folks like in their communities.
I really love... Kefi. It's a Greek restaurant. I'm half Greek, and so that's one of my all-time favorites. And it's on Harlem. It's really good.
Saganaki. I can't live without saganaki when I'm at a Greek restaurant.
Good.
How do you not? Patti, where are you from originally?
I am from Texas. I grew up.
That's why I said originally.
The accent is not Chicago. No, I grew up west of Fort Worth in a tiny town of about 500 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when you came to this organization, though, are you also drawing on your background of like how we were? I'm 53, so I think I'm a little bit older than both of you, I believe. But
bless your heart.
Oh,
bless your heart.
But I mean, like the expectations for us have grown, right? I was raised to believe I could do anything, but that didn't mean everybody around me was the same way.
Right.
Right. Would you say?
And I grew up in a. My whole family are teachers. My parents, my sister, so we're all teachers. So we all had that love of education, and to realize that everyone didn't have that opportunity, and just to see the disparity of opportunity.
Yes.
It made this organization just to realize how important that is. It was just easy to want to jump in.
Right, and would you say like
I would say the same. I'm a child of immigrants, and my dad came from Greece, and education was absolutely the way he got where he was, and he became a doctor, and he knew that was that's the key to everything. So allowing someone to have that ability, it really, especially like in what we're talking about for Girls Supporting Girls, you educate a girl and what it does, the ripple effects in her family, in her town, in her community is so tantamount.
And I guess for me, like I remember looking back when I graduated from college. When I was graduating, I had a professor write me a letter of recommendation, and the thing he said, it was very small, it was very positive, except that he said that I was very quiet in class, and it wasn't until that moment that I was like, oh, he's right. I mean, like here I was a senior, still looking back and going, yeah, I never felt but that I would go visit his after hours, feel more comfortable talking one-on-one about ideas, not wanting to share that. Do you find that? I mean, like a lot of girls, is it getting better? Do you think for young girls? Of being brave enough?
I believe so. Yeah, I do. I
have a boy. I have no frame of reference, but I will say it's so interesting you say that. So when we work with these, let's say a village wants a school, and we work with an organization called Build On, that we go to that country and they do the groundwork. And we've traveled to some of the villages to be there for the groundbreaking of the schools. And we've had the privilege of going to see many of these girls in their classrooms. That is not the case. You see energy, you see confidence, you see, I'm going to be the president of the country, I'm going to be a pilot. So
yes,
it's a very different thing than I think some of that.
It's so enlightening.
What you're talking about, that being quiet, being a little more sheltered, that you see, or a little more demure, should I say,
which can transcend whichever country.
It's very different culturally. You know, you just absolutely.
You never know. And so, tell me about some of the countries that you've been to, Jenny.
Well, I haven't done any of the treks here.
We're going to get her there.
But
why haven't you gone? I'm kidding.
I know.
It's hard.
But hopefully next year, I really want to do Africa.
So I've been on 2 treks. I've been on a trek with Malawi that I went with Iris and a whole wonderful group of us. And I've also been to Guatemala. We've had another mother and daughter that have been to Senegal. We've built schools in many other countries, and there have been times that we have not been able to go on track when we had planned to, whether it be civil unrest or just COVID, whatever happens. But we have continued to build those schools and seen that community thrive.
And how do you identify those communities internationally and bring the kind of work that you guys are so invested in?
So we have a few ways that we do that. We research our partners so carefully. Right now we have 3 partners. We have Build On, we have Abercrombie and Kent Philanthropy, and we have Schools for Siloam, which also has Ummentag. So that would be 4, not 3. Okay. We research them, and we've researched many, many other partners that we could possibly have. And it's hard to convince us that we're going to partner because we know that our friends are trusting us with their donations to make this change and to make these decisions. So Build On is they do the groundwork. I can't source lumber in Haiti. I
that
can't.
Might be rough.
But they can do these things. So we also, I want to make sure that the schools are safe.
Sure,
and so
of course.
they hire the architects. They hire the people on the ground. We want to make sure that when there are scholarships, like Schools for Siloam, we've provided scholarships for girls in Sierra Leone, that we've had no dropout rate. I think it's
what?
I know. 4 years, girls keep going. They go. We have the scholarships. It's the money that they need for tuition, for uniforms. It's not a huge amount, but it's not something they have. And so by providing that, they can go to school. We want to make sure that money goes to scholarships. So we really trust Schools for Siloam, that organization. Ummentag, they're an organization that provides reusable menstruation kits because so many girls can't go to school when they have their period. You miss 1 week, it's really easy to miss 2. So you have these reusable kits, and that has a ripple effect.
How did you know that was something I was thinking about asking, but I wasn't? Yeah. Wasn't that funny how we still are like,
I know. I don't know if I want to ask about your period. I know.
I don't know what you mean by reusable because I didn't know about the Diva Cup until too late into my. Did you know about this?
I do. I have. Yes, I've heard of it.
Is this something that is feasible, or is that a little too much? That's a little.
That's not.
It's not feasible, and the great thing about.
The kits.
The great thing about the kits is that they also provide an opportunity for women to work and sew these kits.
I see.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
There's the work
made
component.
by the villagers.
Yeah.
And then there's the component that these girls and boys are given reproductive education. So the boys get education. The boys get a kit. It's a different kit than the girls.
Sure.
But
man,
that
we
also
all need a kit, didn't we?
I know we all needed a kit.
Everyone needs a kit.
Yeah.
And everybody's talking about it and everybody's comfortable with it. And then those kids go home and the mother has that conversation and the grandmother has that conversation. And those aren't, we're talking freely
There's
about
no
it. Those
shame.
are open, honest conversations that are happening.
Right.
So that facilitates those.
I mean, that's so empowering because there's every culture not every. Someone's listening right now going, not every culture has shame around that, but we've all kind of come at it from different angles. So crossing those cultural lines, it can be sort of dicey.
Absolutely.
And it seems like you found that path.
Well, I think it's because we work so closely with this Ummentag in specific. It's just an amazing organization, and it's it comes from that area. It's the whole village. So it's not like we're coming in from the States and taking care of something.
Exactly.
They're taking care of it.
So
we're helping them. You know what I mean? Or we're,
I'm so glad you shed light on that too, because I think that there is that sort of like people sometimes they work too hard to know to wonder what the intentions are or the way it's done when you're really trying to do the work that benefits the community.
Right. Like
what I'm saying is they're like, oh, you come in and tell them how to do things. Is what I'm saying, and you're not coming from that angle.
Never have the arrogance to do that.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, when we were in the village in Malawi, I mean the love, the energy, like why would we ever tell that mother how she needs to educate her daughter? They know best. So what we do is we can provide things like a building. We can provide things like that monetary piece that we actually have the privilege of doing, but why would I ever tell someone how they need to educate their child?
exactly.
Yeah, so that's very much, they're autonomous in doing that. And then we do have eyes on the ground, though, with Build On, that they make sure that the schools are 50% boys and 50% girls, because we do want to see those boys seeing young, powerful women being educated. That's also important in the trajectory of just the rising of everyone.
Excellent. And tomorrow there's an event. It's at Ovation Chicago.
It is. It's a fun event.
Tell folks about this.
Ovation Chicago. So it's our annual Build Bash fundraiser, and we actually call it Beyond the Brick because initially we were just helping to fund building schools, but now, we do the lunch program that we do through Abercrombie and Kent Philanthropy. We do, Talk. We have Schools for Salon. So we have all of these things going. There's more than just a brick. And we call it our annual fundraiser, even though we didn't have one last year. We needed to rest. We needed to rest.
Yes.
I can't forget, we're all volunteer organizations. So we did take a year off. And so now we're super excited. It's going to be a really fun party. Amazing food, lots of fun fundraising options, an amazing MC, a DJ. A lot of dancing.
Excellent. We're hanging out with our friends Jenny McConaughey and Patti Morrow from Girls Supporting Girls. We're going to take a break and continue the conversation. But the Ovation Chicago event is tomorrow. What's the name of Build?
It's Build Bash.
Build Bash.
You can get tickets at girlssupportinggirls.org.
Girlssupportinggirls.org. And if you can't make the event tomorrow, there are links there for you to find out how you can support their mission.
Absolutely.
Donate your time, your resources, whatever, and learn more about what they're doing. Let's take a break here. We'll continue the conversation in just a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. We're so glad you're here. Thank you.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Lung cancer is the deadliest kind of cancer there is. And the best way to protect yourself, don't smoke, and do your best to avoid secondhand smoke. But did you also know that we're seeing a trend of younger, never smokers being diagnosed with lung cancer, particularly women? In fact, research suggests that lung cancer diagnoses have risen 84% among women in the United States over the past 4 decades, while dropping 36% in men. And women who have never smoked are more than twice as likely as men never smokers to get lung cancer. Now, scientists aren't sure what's driving this, but meantime, know the common symptoms of lung cancer. A cough that gets worse or doesn't go away, chest pain, shortness of breath, wheezing, fatigue, weight loss. Trust your instincts. Something doesn't feel right? Make sure to get it checked out. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Your old or broken phone can let you down when you need it most.
Perfect.
But at Verizon, trade in any old phone from our top brands and get the most for it, up to $2,000 in value for an amazing new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence and a new line on My Plan, and iPad and Apple Watch Series 10. That's like a 3-for-1. And you can get it on any plan. At Verizon, trade in your old phone for a brand new iPhone 16 Pro, iPad, and Apple Watch. The other guys won't give you that. Visit Verizon.com today. Additional terms apply. Service plan required for Apple Watch and iPad. Up to $2,000 value based on iPhone, iPad.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
Driving It Home with us. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez. Joining me in studio are our friends from Girls Supporting Girls, board member Jenny McConaughey and President Patti Morrow. And we've been talking about the schools that they help build around internationally. And you said that this was now. Okay, so they start. So you're three Chicago moms.
3 Chicago moms
just said this is fascinating. I think things need to be done. And I'm like, what's on tonight?
Yeah.
Can I binge watch Reacher?
They really had that follow through and started small with movie screenings and bake sales And then it just kind of snowballed into let's do the next thing. Let's partner with someone to build a school. Let's partner with someone to see if we can do that. And just realizing that they could stretch more and more. And then let's have a fundraiser. And that's kind of snowballed. So I think it's just that one step at a time momentum that they just really stuck with.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good thing for people to hear is to start.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think so many people worry about how do I start. Right. And then just they let perfection get in the way of progress.
Right.
And it sounds like perfection comes with the work.
Yeah,
and perfection is not necessarily attainable.
And if you, I think that can be a very big deterrent, right? Because I feel like if we're always worried about perfection, we're never going to do anything. So you just have to just put that foot forward and make it happen.
And next thing you know, you're building schools in places of the world that might not otherwise have access for girls to have autonomy, right? When we talk about having a menstrual kit, and even the boys in the community then benefit. That's the thing is it sounds like you're doing this all for girls, but it's because tradition in so many cultures that we are the ones that are we're still gaining ground.
Exactly.
Right.
And I have my daughter is a junior in high school, and then I have a freshman in high school and a fifth grader. And so my boys, when they knew that I was doing all this, they were like, "But what about boys? So you don't like boys?" So I explained to them that no, this is for the good of their community. So if you educate one girl, you'll see what it kind of does. Like I said about the ripple effect. So it's not an anti-boy thing by any means.
And we do want those boys again to see powerful little girls being in class, and that I think that we want to also be respectful of cultures. So when we do visit when we visited Guatemala, we had to be very respectful of. There were times that were all of the women showing up. I'm just going to give an example. I was actually interviewed by Iris Hart, by her daughter for a college class last night, and she was asking me specifically about one of the treks and do we bring cultural sensitivity when we are, and we very much do, and we're aware of that. And we had a trek where we had to have a discussion about it wasn't the place of the women to stay home and watch the children while the men worked on the site with us. We had a lovely discussion, and the next day the women showed up. So we have those challenges, but it's amazing to break through that and have those discussions and have open, honest discussions about those.
And not forcefully, right? And
not forcefully, no.
No, and I don't mean forcefully, but there's that understanding how to thread that needle, how to be
because there's a reason
respectful
that their culture does what they do.
It sounds like everything you do comes from the idea of respect.
The idea of respect, and I mean,
yes.
Could I be wrong? Always having that list.
Thank you. Oh my God, this is my entire It's so funny because people for other reasons get really angry and say things, and I'm like, look, I love being wrong because it means I'm learning something.
Yes.
Exactly.
We're learning every single
Come
day,
on now.
and we should be.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Let me see. We have a listener, Judy. Is your recommendation for our guests, Patti and Jenny?
Hi, Patti and Jenny. I wanted to recommend a book. I was going to say Nicholas Kristof wrote it, and he did, but his wife also wrote it. I don't want to shortchange the young lady in here.
Of course not.
It's called Half the Sky, and the women. I don't know what country it is, but the women hold up half the sky.
Oh,
I love that.
I love that.
Yeah, he won a Pulitzer, and I love the book. I always realized that we were lucky here, even though we had to fight for some rights. I mean, our lives have been cushy compared to what some parts of the world have been putting up with.
Oh, Judy, I might have to have homework for the board. We may have to have a book club. We may have to read Half the Sky.
Turning oppression into opportunity for women worldwide. I love that.
Hey,
love that.
I love this community.
It's really, and it's easy to read, fast-paced, and it's not huge, so you can, get
I love
into
that.
it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank you,
for
Judy.
recommending that. I love that. Thank you.
We're having Judy's Book Club.
That's right, Judy's Book Club. Now, Judy, go to the website and find out more about Girls Supporting Girls.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, my father had 3 girls, and he was always very supportive of us doing anything we wanted to.
And that makes a big difference. Yep, absolutely. Same thing. My dad never made me feel like I couldn't do whatever I wanted. He didn't think I could do it well, but I'm just kidding. Baseball was what I wanted to play, and he would take me out there and hit the ball, and I would be like, I'm tired of chasing a ball, and he would say, well, then catch one! I've had so much fun talking to you. Please don't hesitate to reach out again. Let us know about other events.
Thank you for having us.
Well, remind folks about tomorrow's event at Ovation Chicago.
Ovation Chicago, 6:30. You can get tickets at girlssupportinggirls.org. You can also find us on Instagram at Girls Supporting Girls.
And then we have March Madness.
We do have March Madness. We do a women's bracket for March Madness.
Yes, that's
and that
super
starts
fun.
right after Bill Bash. So if you can't make it tonight, you can always support us in many other ways.
Yes.
I just got a text from my house. It's a great show. Thank you, sweetie. My husband.
Thank you, sweetie.
Thank you.
Thank you, sweetie.
I look forward to having you both again anytime.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the great water bottle.
Oh, you're welcome.
Gifts are not necessary, but
stay
always appreciated.
hydrated.
Yeah. How did you know? That's what I tell people.
Really?
Before you go. Oh, yeah. I don't tell people. I don't ask people how they are anymore. I tell them to stay hydrated. I put little packets in my water.
Oh my God.
I don't ask how are you doing. You guys, Lady B, right? I don't say how you're doing. I say, are you hydrating? So stay hydrated, ladies. That's so creepy. You're freaking me out.
I love that.
All right, thank you.
We'll be back.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies. Have a great night. Have a great event, and thank you for everything that you do. Thank everyone at the organization.
We will.
Truly appreciate it. Thank you.
It's been great.
Let's take a break here, and we'll come back in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
Excuse me, miss. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Can you recommend a bank that offers a full suite of commercial banking products along with excellent service?
Yes, ABOC.
What about a bank that has been in Chicago for more than 100 years and really understands the local business climate?
ABOC.
But I manage a labor union. Can you recommend a bank that really understands how labor unions operate and what banking products they need?
Again, ABOC. ABOC first opened its doors in downtown Chicago in 1922 and understands the local business climate better than anyone. ABOC was founded by labor unions and still has union employees and shareholders today, so they really understand how unions tick and how their needs may be different. But whether you're with a labor union or another type of business, whether you're large or small or something in between, ABOC will always make you feel like you're their most important customer. Visit ABOC.com to learn more.
Wow, thank you, random person on the street. I'm going to visit ABOC.com today.
Member FDIC.
Imagine all the things you dream of under one roof. You're thinking of eBay. Fashion, collectibles, car parts, it's all there. Go find the thing that keeps you up at night. eBay. Things people love.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. President Trump's pumping the brakes a bit on tariffs. Donna Warder explains.
2 days after imposing 25% tariffs on all imports from Canada and Mexico, President Donald Trump signed 2 executive orders Thursday, suspending some of those tariffs for a month. One executive order allows for the flow of auto parts and sub-assembly into the U.S. from Canada.
During this interim period between now and April 2nd, this makes it much more favorable for our American car manufacturers.
Although Canada says it's suspended a second wave of retaliatory tariffs on the U.S., it says its initial tariffs will remain in place. Trump says the U.S. doesn't need Canada.
We don't need trees from Canada. We don't need cars from Canada. We don't need energy from Canada. We don't need anything from Canada.
Canada's initial retaliatory tariffs have been applied to items such as American orange juice, peanut butter, appliances, and footwear. Donna Warder, Washington.
The tariff whiplash helped send stocks tumbling again. The S&P lost 1.8%. A federal judge has given the Trump administration until Monday to pay nearly $2 billion in debts to partners of USAID and the State Department, ruling in favor of nonprofit groups and businesses that sued over its funding freeze. Another federal judge has reinstated a board member President Trump had removed from an independent labor agency.
National Labor Relations Board member Gwen Wilcox sued the president after he fired her on January 27th. U.S. District Judge Beryl Howell ruled that Trump does not have the authority to remove Wilcox. Government attorneys argue NLRB members should be removable at will to ensure democratic accountability. During a hearing Wednesday, Judge Howell jokingly referred to herself as a speed bump for the case on its way to the Supreme Court. Wilcox is the first black woman to serve on the 5-member board in its 90-year history. Mike Hempen, Washington.
This is AP News. Death by firing squad set for Friday in South Carolina.
Brad Sigmund was convicted of killing his ex-girlfriend's parents in 2001.
George Washington University law professor John Bansaf says Sigmund had three choices.
In his lawyer's words, that's between a violent death by firing squad, a torturous death by lethal injection, or electrocution, which he says is basically frying his client.
5 states, Idaho, Mississippi, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Utah, authorized the use of firing squads in certain circumstances.
And by the way, the firing squad has been held unconstitutional in South Carolina, but it's okay now because he has a choice. Barbaric and ironic.
Death by firing squad could become Idaho's primary method of execution under a bill awaiting the governor's approval. There have been questions recently about lethal injections. I'm Ed Donahue.
And I'm Ben Thomas. AP News. Thanks for listening.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jay Marslick. Into tonight, a slight chance of snow showers through the overnight under cloudy skies, low around 33 degrees, west-southwest winds at 5 to 10. Friday, snow showers are likely to continue under cloudy skies with a high near 36 degrees. Afternoon east winds at 5 to 10. And heading into Friday night, the chance of snow showers will continue through the overnight under partly cloudy skies with a low around 25 degrees. And that's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 39 degrees.
Today, 1 in 5 working-age Americans has a mental health condition.
People in all types of jobs and at all levels.
And the key to helping us succeed is a supportive and inclusive workplace.
All of us have a role to play in making that happen.
So what can I do to help?
As a CEO, I can set the tone for supportive culture.
As a manager, I can offer assistance and accommodations.
As a coworker, I can listen and be a source of support to my colleagues.
As someone with a mental health condition, I can ask for what I need to perform my best.
I can offer all employees the supports they need to deliver on the job. For the team
and for the business.
What can I do?
What can I do?
What can I do?
I can remind others
that we all benefit from workplaces that promote good mental health.
Mental health-friendly workplaces are more important than ever.
And all of us have a role to play in promoting them.
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
At home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Okay, everybody. Man, I am loving the texts that are coming in. And I'll talk about those in just a moment because I want to say hello to our friends tuning in the evenings on KTNF, AM 950, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota. We're trying to make some plans to get up there and maybe do some comedy shows in your neck of the woods. And tonight we have a comedy show in my neck of the woods here in Chicago where we broadcast WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, which you can tune in on your TuneIn app. You can check us out on our Facebook Live and the YouTube broadcast. So I'd love to have you join the conversation there. And I am performing tonight. I know it's short notice. I know I am terrible at the self-promotion. I am at Tata's Kitchen and Social. It is an early show. It's a 7:00 show tonight. It's comedian Paul Farvar, comedian Ty Fowler. Oh, man. I don't know. Tyler Fowler. I got it. So many names that I was trying to do off the top of my head. It's Tyler Fowler. Tyler Fowler, Abby Sanchez. I will be on the show, as well as the singer, songwriter, musician who does our theme song, Driving It Home, and some of the other great songs like Vote GD. That's Steve Goody closing the show tonight. So you'll have to look if you are worried about missing the beginning of the show, you can get there. We're all performing, having dinner, having drinks, and gathering with neighbors, and that means you. So that's at Tata's Kitchen and Social. We'll be there every Thursday. That's our new schedule. Next week is Tequila and Shamrocks. That's my show I'm hosting, and that's going to be Jeannie Dugan, Joe Kilgallen, and Jaime de Leon because it is a Mexican restaurant, and we're heading into St. Patrick's Day. I thought tequila and shamrocks would be fun. So come join us. And I want to thank our sponsors for making this show possible. I want to thank our friends at Source Solar. Go to source.solar for information about all the great work that they do. And I want to make, it's been such a crazy show that I need to make sure that we are making sure you know about Source Solar. Go to source.solar, make an appointment to get an evaluation of your house and find out if it's time for you to get solar panels on your building, because over 100,000 happy customers in the Chicagoland area would say it's time for you to get that done. And I want to thank our friends at Monaco Brewing Company. Of course, if you go to monacobrewingcompany.com, you can find out more about their brews, their progressive wines. They've got woke coffee, and we've got great gear too, t-shirts and hats. Plus, if you sign up for the mailing list, you'll read some great pieces about how we are building the resistance, and my piece on Mocha Monday will be out. So if you subscribe to the newsletter, you will get that in your mailbox on Monday mornings, and I would really appreciate it for you joining us. And I also want to thank our friends at Kids Above All. Go to kidsaboveall.org and find out about the great work that they do, making sure that kids live happy, healthy, safe lives. I was thinking about my friend Dan Katowski when we were talking to Jenny and Patty from Girls Supporting Girls, and I'm just so impressed by all the work that people do to make sure that kids really have a solid start, that they have an environment that is safe and welcoming and builds respect and dignity. So thank you to all of them for the work that they do. Man, it's amazing to think that just moms going, you know what, something needs to be done, and getting it done. We appreciate that. And we also want to thank our friends from Are You Really Winning? I know that we have been talking, I've talked about this in the past, and I was going to mention this yesterday. One of the reasons I'm grateful to be pairing up with Are You Really Winning is I grew up in a household where gambling was really not as stressful, isn't even a way to describe it. My father had, I guess you could say, a predilection for addictions. He was a heavy smoker, a heavy drinker, and when I was younger, he gambled a lot, but nothing like when he quit drinking. It replaced that addiction, and to the point where he was taking out credit cards without telling me or my mom. As a young person, he ruined my credit. He had to claim bankruptcy. It was one of those, and I'll never know the whole story because, it would always change for him. And I want you to know this as a child of a gambler, of somebody who lost a lot of money, lost a lot of trust in our family. I want you to know that as strained and as hard as it was, I love my father. My father passed away in 2001, and honestly, we still feel the sort of stress of money. And I think a lot. My mom and I don't think we fully realize how much of that is tied to the uncertainty of what we went through when my dad would hide what he was dealing with. So I want you to know that you might be hiding it, but it's still affecting others. And I know that there's a sense of shame, and I hope that you can work through that. And we'll talk to our friends from Are You Really Winning? It is Gambling Addiction Month, and you can go to Are You Really Winning? Let me make sure I have the right website, because I've got so much paperwork that sometimes the scripts get away from me. But you know what? Let me just go ahead and do this, because we have information. Let's see. I don't know where the key is. Oh, you know what? It's me. I have to read it live. So I'll get some more information on that. But I know they're coming in tomorrow to talk about the Gambling Awareness Month. And we're going to, here we are. You can go to 1-800-GAMBLER. You can call 1-800-GAMBLER, or you can call Are You Really Winning? You can go to the website. I'm sharing, sometimes the emotional stuff gets me a little tongue-tied. So 1-800-GAMBLER is the number to call, or visit areyoureallywinning.com. So I want you to be mindful of that. Maybe it's not you, maybe it's someone you know in your life. And I don't, if you know a gambler, I can't presume to know your circumstances. I just want you to know that there is help out there. And that's what I want to convey, and we'll share that message throughout the month of March and beyond. All right. Thank you to the listeners who are texting. 773 says, asks if we have a bumper sticker, and they think we should. Would you guys put a bumper sticker on your car? I think there's like magnet ones, right? Because a lot of people don't want to put a bumper sticker on their cars. But like, I wonder how much I wonder if we could invest in, because what they're asking is to be part of the the blowhorn of letting people know that we are here. So something to think about, like car magnet, I think would be more likely. And you, of course, then they'll probably put it on their fridge, which is fine as long as you're thinking about us. We don't mind that at all. And a listener from the 773 says, great show. Thank you, Allison. I appreciate that. And let's see what our listeners on the phone want to talk about, because we need to get back to the news of the day. I know it's time to talk about what's going on. And we have Ron on the line in Chicago. What's on your mind, my friend?
Yes, Trump is taking away Elon Musk's authority to fire federal employees. It's going to be done now by the cabinet secretaries. So the honeymoon's over.
Yeah, that just happened. Like, I think as Joan was on the air, right? He said that he had convened with his cabinet. Now, tell me a little bit, Ron, your understanding of this. Did he say that even though he was doing it before, or that did it sound kind of like he wasn't supposed to be doing it in the first place?
No, he didn't. Trump said that he said in so many words that there were too many good people being fired. That was his underlying message that he tried to.
Yeah, they are struggling with them. So it kind of. Do you think it kind of shows that they're struggling with the messaging coming out of the White House?
Yeah, and there are Republicans complaining too. So
okay.
Yeah, so he's backing off, and also that, and now Trump is said that he wants to make Canada the 51st state, and now he's saying that we don't need Canada for anything. So
oh my God,
we don't need it. We don't need that. No, there's nothing up there but mooses, so we don't need that place.
Yeah, I that's crazy. You know, like I believe now. Forgive me, folks, if I get these numbers wrong, because there's so many things that we go through. But I know that it's in the billions. My friend Jess Piper from Dirt Road Dem was talking about the amount of goods that are exported out of Missouri and bought by Canadians, and she said it was over $6 billion. And I know everyone's seen this, where they were the energy companies were saying they were, or I think the guy from Ontario was saying they were going to shut down energy from 3 states. Unfortunately, most of them were blue states, but whatever. And then there, of course, we also have seen the images of Jack Daniels being taken off the shelving, and Kentucky relies heavily. I think that's a huge industry for them. So yeah, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that, Ron.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye. Let's get to Roosevelt in Chicago. How have you been, my friend?
Fantastic. How about yourself, Patty? I'm going to be real brief, quick, because I know you guys got a lot of calls. And so here it is. I got 3 things. This morning, I predicted in a Spanish radio station that Trump wouldn't last even a month with these tariffs with Mexico. Look, it didn't even last a day. Okay?
Sorry, it's crazy.
That's okay. So that was point number 1. Point number 2, if even Elon Musk or Trump had a CEO in their company and messed up this bad, meaning all the tariffs, now you see me, now you don't, that type of thing, back and forth, all the mistakes that Trump and Elon Musk have made, because Elon Musk, this is his idea, I believe. It's my opinion. It's his idea. CEOs, the way they get into it is they start cutting. Proof, the interview that Trump had with Elon Musk, he was giddy, happy that he fired all those people that protested at his company. So if they themselves had a CEO that messed up this bad by all these recalls, USDA, IRS, you name it, in other words, recalling these people back, the health industry. So they themselves would fire that person. So look what we have as a man, 2 men in business. And it's okay to have a man that's a rich man like our governor that does business, but a man that is successful at doing business. These guys are not successful. Elon Musk is losing in his Tesla company. Trump, all the casinos, all the Trump vodka, Trump jets, Trump, you name it.
Right.
He failed. He's a failed businessman.
Yep.
So that's what I wanted to say, and I hope you find the Midas touch. Yesterday, they sent me the speech of the Mexican president. It is a doozy. She says, I have plan A, B, C, D, and E. He goes for these tariffs. So she buckled up. She goes, Mexico is to be respected. So I believe, not only that, it was a long speech. I don't do it no justice. And you got to see it. It's on Midas Touch, the three brothers. And by the way, Midas Touch took over Seth Rogen. Not Seth Rogen. Joe Rogan. Remember he was number one?
I know. Midas Touch has beaten him. Yep.
Over.
Yep.
So look, I hope you play it because it is a doozy. And the oldest brother, he said, we should have a leader just like that, like Mexico has. And you got to see the speech.
It's great. That's awesome.
And you know what? I'm going to close it with this. Woman power. The women are taking over the country and in peace, and they're very shrewd. The Mexican president is very intelligent, very shrewd. On one hand, she talks to him, sweet nothings in his ear, and on the other hand, he punishes him by making these speeches and by being the smart one in the room when it comes down to doing deals. He doesn't know how to do deals. He's horrible at doing deals. Oh, and one more thing. Did you see the face on Marco Rubio when Trump dropped the gauntlet at him, saying that he was going to be in charge of Panama? Look, a Latino, supposedly. Right. Yeah. You see the face? You got to see on Seth Rogen's show. It is funny. It looks like somebody swallowed a canary. He looks sad. He looks horrible. And Seth, what's his name? What's the guy? Seth Meyers. I'm getting my Seths and my Joes confused. Seth Meyers had it on the show, and he throws the picture on Rubio. And he looks terrible. Looks like somebody took a dog. Somebody beat up. It's horrible.
Look, I think your point about how he's come out with this statement with the cabinet, the heads of departments, and saying, I just want to say for weeks I have been talking about how if you truly were going into these departments, as Musk has with his computer programmers, hackers, whatever coders, these 19 to 24-year-olds, if they were truly looking for fraud and waste, you would go in there with forensic accountants to find where you can make specific not even cuts, because I know you said you were going to be quick, but now I'm going to be long, Roosevelt. I cannot tell you how many times people have been posting on my Facebook wall in response to us pushing back and how they're going about this, that they want to cut over 80,000 veterans, that they're cutting 8,000 people from Social Security, the cuts they want to make to the Department of Education, right? Everyone's like, oh, well, when Bill Clinton fired 400,000 people, I guess it's not the same when the Democrats do it. It took... I'm going to yell, Roosevelt. Pull your phone away from your head. It took 6 years, and they did a 6-month study so that they were doing everything deliberately, precisely, making sure that they went through legislation. They offered buyouts. Oh, my God, I'm so angry. Hi, how are you doing, Roosevelt? I'm just saying.
No, I agree with you, man. Hey, I agree with you, but... we're in sync as far as the way we think, because that's exactly my point.
And here's the thing. Guess what? Hey, Roosevelt. Hey, everybody. What happened at the end of Bill Clinton's term? Everybody, his second term. Balanced budget surplus. Yep. Just saying. If you're... Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Patty.
I'm gonna bounce off the walls of this padded room. Take care. Bye, Roosevelt. Let's bye. Now they want to use a scalpel. They broke everything. They're breaking stuff left and right. There's just shards of glass and chipped cement and plaster. Everything's destroyed. They go, hey, could you go in with just a little time? Just be delicate. That's too late. Decades of damage. Let's take a break here. We'll come back in just a moment on WC. But they fired nuclear experts and safety. And then they said, we can't find their numbers now because they eliminated them from their database. All right, let's take a break here. More in a moment on WCPT. Oh, we're going to Max and Benny's? I forgot about this. Yes, we're going to Max and Benny's. I'm just saying.
St. Patrick's Day begins March 10th at Max and Benny's restaurant in Northbrook. Don't wait until March 17th to get your North Shore's best corned beef and cabbage. Stop in beginning March 10th for lunch or dinner. Dine in or carry out. Meals come with red potatoes and carrots. Max and Benny's has catered meal packages to take out or eat in. You can go to maxandbennys.com to check out their special St. Patrick's Day menu. And don't forget, Max and Benny's special decorated cookies for St. Patrick's Day. Max and Benny's, open 7 days a week for great deli, soups, sandwiches, and dinners. Max and Benny's does catering with fish, deli, and delicious homemade dessert trays. Max and Benny's also has a special event space for over 100 people for catered events, parties, and special occasions. And Max and Benny's is your headquarters for all your Passover meals and Seders. Call Max and Benny's today to reserve your space for St. Patrick's Day. 847-272-9490. That's 847-272-9490.
When it comes to health, we're all on our own journey. Our challenges aren't always visible to those around us. You may be living with aches and pains, fatigue, shortness of breath, or other symptoms that make it difficult to manage everyday life. These problems can be the result of a variety of conditions, including long COVID, which 1 in 5 adults who've had COVID-19 may develop, according to the CDC. When symptoms linger, they could lead to feelings of isolation, but you don't have to go through it alone. For challenges like these, physical therapy is the solution. Physical therapists are the licensed healthcare providers moving you to better health. They can improve your quality of life through hands-on care, patient education, and prescribed movement. No matter where you are on your health journey, your physical therapist and physical therapist assistant can help. When we work together, we feel better together. So choose more movement. Choose better health. Choose physical therapy. Visit ChoosePT.com to find a physical therapist near you or ask your primary care provider for a referral. This message is provided by the American Physical Therapy Association.
WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
One of the other things we haven't talked about today is the fact that there was news this morning that the executive orders were imminent for Trump to eliminate the Department of Education, which I think most of us, I don't know if we even know. Like, this is something, we'll talk to someone about executive orders, but that's actually not legal. It's something that Congress has to do. I know that Republicans are salivating at the idea. Their whole thing is like, send it back to the states. And then when states make a decision about other issues, they're like, oh, you can't do that. But there's so many elements to this, whether it's student borrowing, student loans. Right now, they have already cut back on employees that work in these offices. So for students who are paying back these loans and trying to do the right thing, now there aren't enough people to answer the phones or respond to give them the answers. So I don't know if this is going to put kids in people who are paying these loans into default. There's definitely stress and anxiety. The ripple effect of all these actions are just immeasurable. And look, I sometimes I get self-conscious because Lady B and I have similar families. We fight for a lot of things for our kids, and sometimes I'm assuming something based on previous experiences when I worked at another radio station, and people would use some really nasty language in reference to my son. There was one day on the air, and I have the screenshot of this text somewhere, and it was a huge text, and it was about that they were tired of hearing me go down to Springfield fighting for resources when Governor Rauner had shut down programs across the state and defunded programs like the Autism Program of Illinois and Easter Seals funding. And they were like, and they would make it so personal, like so specifically personal, because my son is severely disabled. He's nonverbal, and my husband is his primary caregiver. My husband lost his job in 2008. We worked very hard to figure out what we were going to do, and paying somebody to care for Declan and have Steve work full time and for me to try to pursue my career was going to cost us way more than we were able to manage. So we decided that Steve would be the primary caregiver, and I have been the primary, I guess you call it breadwinner ever since then. And this texter was like, if you were going to marry, just because you're going to make us all pay because you married a loser. They said, I'm pro-choice, but I think people like you should abort their children. And that is what, to me, is underneath so many of these things, right? Because I had been able to secure a lot of the programs for Declan. I was fighting for people that I feel don't have the resources and the time to get in the faces of legislators and saying, what are you going to do about this? To demand that the governor do more. And now that we have a president and we have governors across the country from red states who are willing to funnel resources into private schools, into charter schools where they do not have a federal mandate to make sure that our kids are educated in an environment that helps them reach their potential, that helps them be safe, to learn skills that are difficult for I can't explain what this life is like, and I know that for a lot of people it's like they don't want to feel bad about it, they don't want to hear about it, but we're members of your community. We are your friends. We're in pews at church. We have our kids on the playground. We're at the grocery stores with you. Our ability to maintain our social connections, to contribute economically, physically to our communities, has a lot to do with the supports that are in place and have been there for decades. And the Department of Education is a significant part of that. And in Illinois alone, there are 750,000 students that are in peril if the Department of Education is eliminated. And somebody I have to go. We have a guest coming up. Let's say, you know what? Part of the solution to this might be electing someone to a formerly Republican seat. I'll send this to you right now. Formerly Republican seat in Florida. We're going to talk to congressional candidate Josh Weil in just a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the voice of Minnesota, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jay Marsleg. Into tonight, a slight chance of snow showers through the overnight under cloudy skies, low around 33 degrees, west-southwest winds at 5 to 10. Friday, snow showers are likely to continue under cloudy skies with a high near 36 degrees. Afternoon east winds at 5 to 10. And heading into Friday night, the chance of snow showers will continue through the overnight under partly cloudy skies with a low around 25 degrees. And that's your latest Chicago weather update.
Right now, it's 39 degrees.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
This is a WCPT Moment in Labor. In 2011, 6 Jimmy John's employees in Minneapolis were fired by their franchise-owning company, Mickey Lynn Enterprises, after fighting for paid sick days. This is a common theme in the union-free world of fast food. Over 13 million Americans work in the fast food industry, making an average of $13,500 a year, not even half the average cost of living. 80% of fast food workers have experienced work-related injuries, and only 13% were covered by their employer. A group of employees referred to as the Jimmy John's Six fought for these rights, creating an online campaign, posting a picture of 2 sandwiches saying one of these was made by a healthy employee, the other was made by a sick employee. Can you tell the difference? Too bad, as Jimmy John's workers do not get paid sick days. Help workers win sick days. More than 32 million Americans work a job that does not offer paid sick days. This has been a WCPT Moment in Labor. We're working for your rights.
When I first had my baby, I'd get comments all the time about how happy I must be. I remember thinking, I want to be happy. Why don't I feel that way? It was hard to admit that, even to my doctor. But I'm glad I did. She told me it was postpartum depression, and that is very treatable. These days, things are feeling good, and we're both happier about that. Right, little man? I'll take that as a yes.
Mental health care is working for Simone. See what it can do for you at mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hi, this is Patti Vasquez. We appreciate all our fans of Driving It Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Armanetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lions Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
There's so much that goes on behind closed doors.
On WCPT 820.
Yeah, there is. That's why we need to have more Democrats, more progressives, more liberals behind those closed doors. And one way to get that done in D.C. is to elect Josh Weil, who's running for Congress. He's out of Orlando. Thank you so much for joining us, Josh. I know it's an incredibly busy time. How's it going out there, my friend?
Going great. It's exhausting. But that's what happens when you're doing the work. Everything we could have hoped it would be right now.
Excellent. And now the election is coming up. Is that on April 1st?
April 1st, about 3.5 weeks away.
And this is it. Is this for the seat, or this is like a step in toward the seat? It's not a primary, is it?
No. We won our primary back on January 28th. This
Excellent.
is for the seat. We were just saying, I'm so incredibly grateful this is in Georgia, where we've got the chance that if some third-party candidate gets 1% and we split it at 49.5, we got to do it again. This is top vote getter takes all.
Head to head. There you go. So I know that, there's so much involved. There's the door knocking, the phone banking, not phone banking. You have to do the, call time, asking people to, dig deep as much as they can, having events. How much has changed since the inauguration and the energy and the support that you're receiving?
So before the inauguration, we were averaging around $50,000 to $60,000 a day, and that basically doubled immediately. We didn't have a sub 100. Actually, we haven't had a sub 100K day since the inauguration. We've hit highs of this last weekend after the Oval Office meeting with Zelensky. We had $1 million weekend as a result of it. Trump, he may be a lot of things, but he is one hell of a fundraiser for us. I'll give him that.
Wow. Yeah, I believe it. How about the conversations that you're having? Because this is what a lot of Democrats were warning about, was this unhinged, erratic behavior. Today alone with this convening with the secretaries of different departments saying that Elon's not in charge. It's chaotic. Are you hearing feedback from folks about, I know we all want it to stop, but specifically in your area, because it is such a Ron DeSantis, Trump, territory, what are you hearing?
On the Dem side, absolutely. The Dems are like, look at this chaos. Oh, my God, our country's going to burn. On the Republican side, it's a lot more about personal impact. And it's one of the things, he had this fast and furious kind of shock and awe set of trying to destroy absolutely everything as quickly as possible, that it appears the plan was to desensitize people. Like, there's so much going on, you can't really feel any of it. But the flaw in that logic seems to be that, some of these people out in District 6, you got a nice 70-year-old retiree out there. They might not take it personally about FEMA. They might not take it personally about the Department of Education. They might not take it personally about going after women's rights over their body. They might not take it, right? But eventually, if you keep destroying systems, you hit one that affects them. And for a lot of our residents in this district, it's Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And they are upset. They are really concerned. They are scared because they voted for economic relief. They voted because the fixed income wasn't cutting it month to month. And now their fixed income might get cut by up to 28%.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that message is cutting through. It's hard because it's kind of a slow process in the sense, even though everything's happening so fast, there are people that are still resistant to it. So I'm glad to hear that it's getting through. What are some of the ways that we can help you, even all the way from Chicago?
So we have we have volunteers from Chicago. We have volunteers last night, we got our first volunteer sign up from Fairbanks, Alaska, and we now have volunteers from all 50 states and Puerto Rico. But we built an incredibly large system. We really made sure we had the capacity to support people who wanted to come in, and it's been tough keeping up with it, but we're getting 500 to 600 people signing up through our website or our Mobilize every day. So you can go onto joshwheel.us. There are volunteer links on there. You can sign up to do postcarding. You can sign up to do phone banking, to do text banking, any way to contact voters, people living in this district. Make sure that they know there's an election on April 1st. They know what's at stake and who the candidate is to help us turn out the vote.
And in addition to, obviously pushing back against this move toward basically a dictatorship, what are the messages? What is your pitch to people to remind them of why this is so important? Because this is really an opportunity to claw back at least the Congress, right?
Yeah, and I mean, the main thing I'm selling people is myself, just a public school teacher of 13 years. In public schools, we don't pick and choose which kids we serve. We take care of all of them. We make sure everyone gets an education. We make sure everyone gets what they need. And that's the mentality that our elected representatives should have. Your representative should be there to serve and protect you. They should be looking out for your interests, not theirs, when they're voting in Congress. On top of that, we have messages of building systems to actually take care of people. I think because with whichever party's been in charge, we've done such a weak job of really solving problems over the last 30 years or so of building new systems that can actually take care of people. A lot of voters were frustrated when they see, how do we go $4 trillion over and we still have homeless vets, and we still have a VA system that backs up for months, and we still don't have, a working healthcare system without insurance companies obstructing access, and we don't have good transportation systems or bridges, and we don't have clean water in places, and we don't have, all of these things. How could you spend $4 trillion over and not fix any one of those problems for us? Trump and Musk sold them on that they were going to cut the fat, and now they're freezing all these funding, and they're cutting, firing, laying off all these people. And a lot of the residents who voted, a lot of the people who voted for Trump are realizing that they're what he thinks the fat is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And that's breaking through for folks, though?
It is. Good. It is. It's not the same thing for everyone.
Right.
Sure. We did a VFW haul about a week and a half ago, which is, not usually the friendliest territory for a Dem candidate.
Sure.
And had 4 different people before I even went up to speak come over and tell me that, in the 48 hours since the first round of layoffs of all the doctors and nurses in VA, they'd had upcoming doctor's appointments or scheduled operations pushed back 4 to 6 months. Wow. They saw the connection. They put on Fox News and saw, thousands of cuts. They're cutting all these administrators to the VA. And then 3 hours later got a phone call. Hey, your VA appointment's been pushed back to July. They can connect the dots.
Sure.
And we left that room with more than half the crowd cheering and supporting me, which is wild.
That is wild.
A Dem in a VFW hall.
Man. Well, again, folks, you've got to, we talk about what's going on around the country, especially from a blue state, whether it's Illinois or Minnesota, it's not over. I know a lot of people feel adrift or overwhelmed by all of the news. And as Congressman Quigley said in the last hour, you got to put on a brave face, pace yourself. What do you do? What do you do, Josh, to sort of pace yourself? I know it's hard because you're in the campaign. So I can't.
God.
I mean, are you able to meditate or, do something to have a laugh and make sure you recharge yourself? I know you have a beautiful family. What do you do to take care of yourself?
It doesn't stop. We try to find time We try to find if there's a half day where an event or something fell through. My first instinct is to jump in and go out and knock doors. But, if it's been a week or more since I've had a day off, they'll try to slide me over to rest. We had something cancel Sunday afternoon and had my kids. They're here with me this week. And so it was just like, you know what, you're done. My campaign manager was like, you're done, you need this. And, so we sat down and we put on Wild Robot. And it just, was able to take a couple hours and enjoy it with my kids. You try to find the time when it pops up because there's so much going on. It's hard to build it.
Yeah, it really is. Well, we are so grateful that you're doing this. And whenever you need to do a last push or check in with us again and make sure folks know about your campaign and get their support. For folks who maybe are tuning in, remind us the district in the area.
Yep. This is Florida's 6th district, goes from Daytona Beach up to St. Augustine and then all the way west to Ocala. We have a special election to fill the vacant seat in U.S. Congress on April 1st. It's incredibly important. The 3 special elections this year will determine which party controls the House. Mm-hmm. And taking back the House, it's the number one thing we can do to not just block ensuing legislation for Project 2025, but it gives us back chairmanship of the committees.
Yes.
Right now, the reason Elon Musk is running wild through the departments and accessing people's private data and firing people that, he has no business firing is because the Republicans oversee the House Oversight Committee, and there is no oversight coming from there. We take back chairmanships and we control the Oversight Committee, and Elon Musk is locked out. Done.
I love it. It's joshwheel.com, right? JOSHW. No. .us.
JoshWheel.us.
All right. Yes.
JoshWheel.us.
See, I got ahead of myself there. JoshWheel.us. It's WEIL. JoshWheel.us. Reach out anytime, and we wish you the very best because a lot, no pressure. I mean, just saying, a lot hinges on you. Go get them. We're grateful that you're running and proud to welcome you on the show. So we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Patty.
Thank you. Take care. Man, we need that seat. All right. Go get him, Josh. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
Count me among the Americans that want to see change. Now, of course, the change I was looking for would have put Kamala Harris in the White House. Americans voted for change. They just, Trump, I think they got the wrong kind. Still, I'm grateful for elections, even when we lose. They tell us about ourselves, and we can't ignore that and shouldn't.
The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
Hi, I'm Diana. As a veteran, I know that for many servicemen and women, the battle doesn't always end when they come home. Because I, too, struggle with the invisible wounds of service. Thankfully, I found American Humane's Pups for Patriots program, which brought Sam into my life. Before being paired with Sam, I didn't get out of bed for most days. Pups for Patriots and Sam literally changed my life. Now I'm able to go to the store without having a panic attack. I'm finally able to live my life the way I want to live it. Pups for Patriots provides trained service dogs to veterans like me at no cost. If you're a veteran or know a veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury, please go to AmericanHumane.org to learn about their Pups for Patriots service dog program. Let's give our veterans a fighting chance.
A message from American Humane.
Being blind doesn't always look how others may think.
Retinitis pigmentosa aimed to overwhelm my family.
It tried to cut me down.
I know where to find support and where I can be seen.
Innovative research, educational resources, supportive community. The Foundation Fighting Blindness is leading the charge in finding treatments and cures for blinding diseases. Learn more at fightingblindness.org. A public service message from the Foundation Fighting Blindness.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month, and we're proud to welcome a new sponsor to the Driving at Home family. Are You Really Winning? Betting, gaming, wagering, no matter what you call it, gambling can take many forms. And for some people, gambling can lead to financial problems, relationship problems, and depression and anxiety. You don't have to feel out of control. Problem gambling can be managed and treated. We are here to help you because you are not alone. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit areyoureallywinning.com. And as I said earlier, if it's not you or it's someone you know, I think that there's a lot of shame in it, and sometimes it can really have a lot of momentum behind it, and before it gets too out of control. And even if it's never too late. That's something I need everyone to know. Please seek some help. Again, that's areyoureallygambling.com or 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is taking your calls now at 773-763-9278. Driving it home with Patti Vasquez now on WCPT 820.
I'm really curious to see how our new viewers on the Patti Vasquez Show please go over to the Patti Vasquez Show page. We're almost at 9,000. Don't you want to be like the 9,000th follower? We were at 5,000. We were at 5,000 a few weeks ago. My collaborator and social media manager, Jerry Walski, put up a post a few weeks ago that just went crazy. Now another one has taken off. It's at about 20,000. And it is a Pez dispenser, but it says Prez, and he's shooting out lies instead of tasty little candies that taste like chalk. But at any rate, I'm curious to see what those folks who have now found my page and are filled with rage, they're page raging. They're all like they'll put all these memes of like Elon's doing exactly what I wanted. I love this. A billionaire who is giving up his salary to help America. Listen to yourselves, a billionaire who is telling us how to run our country. I wonder how they're going to be reacting tonight to the news that Trump is reining in Elon Musk and saying that he is not in charge of firing people, and that the secretaries in his cabinet should be the ones who decide who gets fired, because so far we can't be going in there with a hatchet. We need to go in there with a scalpel. Yeah, likely. Can you believe this, Paul? I mean, like, what? Well, I don't know what's on your mind, but holy craptastic balls. How are you doing?
He gave up Elon Musk gets $8 million a day from the federal government. He's not giving up anything.
Exactly.
He's only trying to get more.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. That's what he's the biggest. Ronald Reagan never saw a welfare clean as big as Elon Musk. I mean, come on.
Yep.
I mean, really. I mean, this guy is the biggest. That's how you become a billionaire.
What?
Is because that's where all the money is. This is the whole thing that the right wing has recognized over the last 40 years, is that you use the power of government to raise revenue with taxes, and then you give it to the then you give it to the rich. That's the only way. You don't make billions of dollars selling widgets. No, that's a good business, widget selling, and I encourage anybody who wants to get into the widget business to go ahead and do so. But you're not going to become a billionaire. You get government contracts, and by the way, everything that he gets, that Elon Musk, every dollar, every dime that he gets from the federal government is an entitlement.
Yes.
As defined by the Supreme Court back in 1970, what an entitlement is. By the way, your Social Security and your Medicare, those are not entitlements. They're not. No. We paid into those. The court defined an entitlement as an entitlement is a government benefit to which the beneficiary does not pay into directly, but is eligible or entitled to through the criteria of the application process. So if you want to get a government contract, you have to apply for it. If you want to be a Medicare Advantage provider, you have to apply for it. And then you dictate to those of us who are on Medicare how much more we have to pay you to make it worth your while. I mean, this is the biggest ripoff I've ever seen. So this guy, he says that, he gave up his salary. No, we are his salary, dude. Come on.
Yeah. Well, But by the way, before do you have because I don't know if you saw this story. I just saw this, but it happened yesterday. Did you see that there's a little agency, a government agency called the U.S. African Development Foundation, and these two young men kids, essentially. I mean, there's pictures of them. They tried to not force their way in, but they told the security guard, "Oh, no, we work here, but we don't have our ID cards." And then they demanded to be allowed in, and so that they would refer the security guard to U.S. Marshals. And they wanted to come in and get their grubby hands all over another. And the agency had a standoff with them, basically. Isn't that? I mean, I don't know if that's why the Doge boys started threatening the security guards, saying they would call the U.S. Marshals to force their way in. But then and then the guard relented, because I guess there's so much confusion in D.C. No one knows who to listen to. But when they got to the floor they were seeking entry to, the staffers, the people that worked for this department, said, "You will not enter." Amazing.
Yeah. Oh, you know a phony when they say, "Hey, you better let us in, or we're calling the cops. We'll call the marshal." I said, "No, let's call them right now.
Yeah.
Let's call them right now and have them haul your butt away." That's what I would say. We're going to call the marshals on you. Oh, okay. Well, I think we need marshals. Yeah, these people are unbelievable. But I wanted to point something out here about the ridiculous speech that Trump did for the other day. And people better understand this. When he says, we're going to get Greenland, when we're there in that, we're going to get Greenland. He has said in the past, we're going to take Greenland. Now, let me put this to you. You better watch it and call your legislators, because I think this is exactly what's on. What he means when he says that is that, does anybody think that this annexation of Greenland somehow isn't going to involve Russia?
I know.
I think what's going to happen is Russia is going to invade Greenland, and Trump is simply going to do nothing to stop them. And then we will split the spoils, the trillions of cubic feet of natural gas and the oil and the rare earth metals that are there, and we'll just say, this is our lives now. And so it's going to be, because it would take Russia, 20 minutes to simply land. And what are 50,000 people, 57,000 people in Greenland going to do about it? Nothing. It could be done in a half a day.
Yeah.
And then Trump just won't. Trump is, he's going to pull the same crap that he's doing with Ukraine. He's going to say, we're not going to step in. No, we didn't know anything about it. Because Trump really can't get away with doing that himself, because we already have a base there. So you just let Russia do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. I love this logic. We're going to the Panama Canal. We gave the canal to Panama.
Oh my God.
We built it. No, actually, by the way, I think most of the workers were Panamanian people when the canal was built. But what the hell did Panama need with a 50-mile ditch dug through the middle of their country?
Right.
I mean, how does that help them? No, that only helped other people. In other words, goods don't get to Panama faster because there's a Panama Canal. No, it's like, no, they allowed us to dig a big ditch through the middle of their country.
For our benefit.
Because that was the shortest distance across the isthmus. I love that word, isthmus. It almost gives me a... but that's... We didn't give it to them.
Mm-mm.
We didn't give them to it. There had to be something in it for them. So they have to make something of it, because we basically just said, yeah, okay, we'll do it. We see your point. You don't want to have to drive all the way around. So dig a 50-mile ditch through our country and, okay, get it. But there's got to be something in it for them. Well, Trump thinks that we gave it to them. Wait, you mean you dug the canal somewhere else and you brought it to them? Is that what that's kind of what he's giving us. Look, we're giving you a marvelous canal. We're going to put it in here right now. And the guy is too much. And don't think that Russia isn't going to be involved in that too. Because Donald Trump is a monster on a string.
Ooh.
For Vladimir Putin.
1,000%.
Monster on a string.
Yep. Thank you for that, Paul. Good to hear from you. Have a good evening, my friend.
Have a good evening. Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Let's get to Tom in Chicago. Hey, Tom.
Hi.
Hi, Tom. What's on your mind?
It's a quick one. It's a little off subject, but it's from the other day. You were talking about an exercise that you found works for you for vertigo.
Yes.
And it's Dr. Foster's half somersault.
Yes.
Yeah, I swear by that, and I tell all my friends. Well, a lot of people have the problem. And I tell them about it, and some people, of course, can't quite physically do that, but I tell them try, because she has explained it, as you said. She explains it so well about what's happening inside and what you got to do to make it happen. Yeah, so I wanted to second the motion and tell you, you're on the right track.
Thank you. Yes, for folks who didn't catch it, last week I was I have had occasional. Well, I mean, once you have it, and you have to deal with it. And I don't know about you, but when I went to the doctor, it was very scary. But they basically were going to do the same thing, but like lie on my back and my head over the edge of the table, and it didn't quite work. So I started doing my own research, just as you do, and I found Dr. Carol Foster. So if you or someone you know has vertigo, try this first. And it's scary though. Does it trigger it for you? Because for me, it'll just be a little bit, and I try to get it, but it'll full on like spinning around when but then it stabilizes. It really takes it out of me.
Yeah, it doesn't actually increase it for me, but it attacks it right away, and I rest a little bit afterwards, and it takes care of it. It takes care. And if they want to find it online, they can. And Dr. Foster, half somersault.
Yep.
It's referred to half somersault. There you go.
On YouTube.
It works.
I found it on YouTube. It also is under vertigo treatment. Carol Foster vertigo treatment. Tom, thank you for seconding my opinion on that and sharing that with folks. It helps. Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Don't sleep on whatever side makes that happen. Bye-bye. Yeah, right? Yeah, it's hard. Thanks. Take care. Yeah, for me, it's my left side. I'm like, oh, God, don't do that. Don't forget tomorrow, I mentioned earlier that Richard's going to have Karen Byrne of the True Blue Politics Podcast, Crystal Paul of the Illinois Answers Project, and Mayor Brandon Johnson. He's going to have some stuff to talk about. Plus, again, that's going to be from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Choose Views right here on WCPT, Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And on Joan's show, Professor William Muck. I know how many people love listening to Professor William Muck. And then she's going to have Congressman Sean Casten, Georgetown law professor David Super, and so, Professor Muck is filling in. Oh, you guys, Professor Muck is filling in. So there you go. So he'll have Congressman Sean Casten and Phil Barker from the Professor of Political Science at Keene State. So tune in for that show tomorrow. I want to thank our sponsors, Source Solar. Go to source.solar for more information. Minocqua Brewing Company, MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. AreYouReallyWinning.com as well. And we also want to thank our friends at Kids Above All. Have a great night, everybody. I'm headed to Tata's Kitchen and Social on Irving Park Road. Thank you, Lady B. Randy Rhodes is up next, followed by Matt McNeil.
Hey there, it's Carrie Joy with your Work Money Minute. Today I'm going to share a story about me and my money. This starts in my 20s.